Greetings and welcome to a bonus episode of High Point, Turning Point, and End Point. In this episode, I will continue my review of the Jurassic Park franchise and a slight preview of Jurassic World Rebirth, a possible explanation to the origin of the Distortus Rex. First to begin, I do like to say that I love a good mystery. Jurassic Park has brought up several mysteries throughout the franchise, particularly Jurassic Park 3. Of course, even Jurassic World about the origin of the Indominus Rex, whether the DNA, what type of dinosaurs were mixed together to make that creation. But I'm usually pretty careful about spoilers, and I try not to. I did watch quite a few theory videos when the first trailer for Jurassic World Rebirth came out, and a lot of the main subject was regarding the D-Rex, which was known at that time, which we now know is called the Distortus Rex. And that really did capture my interest, and I don't think before I was really excited for Rebirth, especially with Fallen Kingdom and Dominion being big-time letdowns. But the mystery of the D-Rex and just the new island, the new setting, kind of did pull me in, though I, of course, tried to abstain from watching too many videos or reading very many articles lately now that spoilers are, more prevalent. And recently, it has, like I said, piqued my interest with this dinosaur that has such a mutated appearance, the D-Rex. And recently, I have read The Lost World, Jurassic Park, written by Michael Crichton, of course, the original author of Jurassic Park. And The Lost World is a sequel to that book. And of course, those are the books that Jurassic Park and The Lost World are based off of. And I've often heard that The Lost World, the movie, only takes one actual scene from the book, and the rest of it is pretty much created by David Koepp and Spielberg. But after reading his book, I have to disagree with that. Quite a bit of the material, the overall structure of The Lost World, does come from the book written by Michael Crichton. And I think it's very important to give a few examples. There's the trailer attack by the two T-Rexes. Happens very similar as it does in the movie as it does in the book. The baby T-Rex getting his leg broken, that also happens in the book and movie. Instead of Dodgson, instead of Peter Ludlow, is the one that receives the death where the adult T-Rex kind of helps the baby get the kill. So there are quite a few parallels, different conversations that happen in both the book and in the movie that kind of spell that notion. The Lost World does take quite a few cues from the book, the movie that is. And one issue that the original scientists on from Engine were dealing with on Site B was early in the cloning process, the infant dinosaurs would die. And they could not figure out why. And in the book, Ian Malcolm reads the email sent between the scientists about how to deal with this disease that is killing the infant dinosaurs and what to do. This disease was designated DX, and the DX disease was some sort of bacterial infection, or at least that's what the scientists guessed, that caused by a contamination early in the production process of the dinosaurs. And I say production process because Site B was kind of like a production plant, factory floor, if you will. And in The Lost World, Ian Malcolm determines that the carnivores eventually were fed a kind of like protein extract created from contaminated sheep. And contaminated sheep, this obviously spoils their food source with prions. And prions are basically, they're infectious, misfolded proteins that cause fatal neurodegenerative diseases. So they're ill-formed in humans and in animals, and they don't really require a genome like a virus or perhaps bacteria would. So it doesn't have like a genome, the genetic code or material or instructions that most organisms that we are familiar with have. With prions, the misfolded proteins cause healthy proteins to kind of mimic and deform themselves to match the prions, the defected proteins, which causes clogs in brain matter, all sort of faculty defects. A few examples given from the book, and of course these are real life things. Scrappy in sheep, mad cow disease in bovine, of course, probably the one you're most familiar with, and Kuru in humans. These neurological deficiencies are caused by the consumption of these prions, which are to be consumed in a passive manner in order for them to take hold. They can't attack a system like a virus can. So what happens in the Lost World, the book, the carnivores are fed this extract. Their droppings contain the prions. Compies, scavenger dinosaurs we're all familiar with, eat those droppings, and from there they would infect, since they're scavengers, other carcasses of dead dinosaurs. They would feed off those carcasses, same as perhaps the raptors, and then the raptors become infected, just like the compies. And then when the raptors attack other dinosaurs, they don't always kill their dinosaurs. They sometimes have just wounds and scrapes and scratches and bites on other dinosaurs they attack. Those dinosaurs then become infected, and that spreads the infection across the entire island. This kind of creates a rapid die-off scenario where the dinosaurs don't quite reach their adult status. They tend to die early, which this rapid die-off allows carnivores to flourish on the Lost World on Site B with a smaller food supply in a relatively small area of the island, because the dinosaurs die off so quickly and reproduce so quickly and grow, not to their full size, that it has a continuous food supply for carnivores to survive on an island that may only have 400 or 500 dinosaurs, like Site B. And another thing to note with these emails about the prions and trying to figure out the diseases causing these problems, of course, Dr. Wu is one of the scientists that is contacted through the emails, and he suggests that the dinosaurs on Site B should be released around the island and then collected at a later date when they finally mature to kind of isolate them and prevent the infection, which, of course, does work for a time being. And although the book doesn't really explain it, there might be an explanation in the movie The Lost World. Sarah Harding and Ian Malcolm have a discussion about the lysine protocol, which is from the first movie, of course, where the dinosaurs would die in a matter of time because they have a lysine deficiency. Without that enzyme, their bodies will, of course, give up and they will die. They combat this by eating certain plants on the island, the herbivores that is, and that combats or counteracts the lysine deficiency, allowing them, of course, to survive beyond the guesses of John Hammond and Ray Park and the other scientists in Jurassic Park. And this possibly, of course, and the carnivores then eat the herbivores and they receive the same benefits. This is very similar in the book, and it may also come into play when Rebirth comes out. And this DX disease, like I said, it may explain the origin of Distortus Rex. It may feature some sort of enzyme, the movie, or protein or growth hormone that is introduced early into the cloning process, which leads to clone abominations, mutated abominations such as the D-Rex. And considering that David Koepp wrote the original script for The Lost World and pulled a lot of the narrative events from that book and used it in his script, I wouldn't be too surprised if he pulled out a couple more threads from that book and repurposed them for Rebirth, especially with the D-Rex and its origins. And another example of how this might play into Rebirth, it looks like from the trailers that eventually the protagonist will try to escape the island via a boat. That is also the same way the protagonists escape in the Lost World book. So could this DX disease be the answer of the origins of the Distortus Rex as to why early in its youth, after being cloned, it turned into a mutated monster? We'll see. Am I maybe just reading into this too much, maybe literally, because the DX initials were in play here? But this thread does seem to fit in what we know with InGen and in the other Jurassic Park films. And I suppose we'll find out soon enough.